Hi, Iain and Sheila. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those who don't know you, perhaps you could just give us a quick introduction and tell us how you came to be living in Mexico.
Yeah, so we moved here permanently about 6 years ago. We found a beautiful house overlooking the Pacific behind us, and the rest is history. We now have a 5-year-old Mexican grandson who we first met at 3 months. He sleeps with us 4 nights a week, and he's our joy. And we hope to introduce you to him in August when we come and see you all.
We look forward to that very much. And we so value our partnership with you guys and just tracking your journey since you've been out there. Tell us a little bit of what you're involved with, and particularly the project Casa de Esperanza, and what's been going on with that recently.
Yeah, we've got a rehab for under 18s. I was a GP with a special interest in addictions in Bristol, and then I worked for 11 years as the only doctor in a juvenile prison. She was an English teacher who did a master's in addiction psychology and counselling. And also for about 16 years in the UK, our main church focus was helping people with addictions. Once we arrived here, you could see that drugs were one of the biggest challenges to the society in Manzanillo. So it's only natural that we ended up running a rehab for under 18s.
Yeah, we run the project as a 24-hour residential home for the boys. And it is a home. It's a home and a family that they probably never experienced, of care and safety and love. So we keep the numbers under 8 residents to maintain a family atmosphere. Over the 2 years, we've had 20 boys come to live with us. Many of them have been successfully reintegrated into their families and back into school life. And one we even trained as a paramedic. He was that little bit older, and he now has a job and he lives with friends in a local house. And his life is stable and off drugs, and that's really good. At the moment, we have 3 boys. Brandon, he's a 13-year-old. He is a ward of court. We have another boy, Angel. He's 16 and he's been with us a year. He's doing really well at school, studying for equivalent of A-levels. But our pride and joy is Juanito, and he's 16 today. Yeah. And
Happy birthday, Juanito.
Yes, we're celebrating his birthday and making a big fuss of him, as he has no family to even bother to visit him, and that's really sad. He came to us at 13, so he's had 3 birthdays with us. He had been working since the age of 10 for 19 hours a day in a car wash to fund his family's drugs and his marijuana habit. Amazingly, he's caught up for 9 academic years in the last 2 years during lockdown, and he's now studying at the same level as Angel for his A-levels. That's amazing transformation. And we've just published some of his artwork in a calendar form for this year to help finance his education.
Fantastic. Oh, it's so amazing to hear his story, and also looking at the other boys' stories on your website. Could you say a little bit about why drugs is such an issue, why maybe it's so easy for people to get into either using them or selling them? Help me understand that.
Cartels obviously are massive and involved, but it's basically a breakdown of the family. And I say missing out on education. I mean, like Juanito was sent out to work to help fund the habit. He would bring it back for his stepdad, the money for his stepdad, who drank. So it's alcohol and crystal meth and obviously marijuana as well. But those are the main things. But it's classic Will Brown. When the family unit starts breaking down and you haven't got a stable income and figures, that's where it all comes from. And of course, cartel activity is massive here.
We've got the biggest port in the
Pacific. Yeah, on the Pacific. The biggest Mexican port on the Pacific.
Your project is obviously part of the solution to that. Could you say a little bit about maybe where it fits in the puzzle? So what government provision is there, and why is it so important that this home is there for these boys?
Before we started, there was nothing for under 18s. There are adult rehabs, but they are like 12-week lock-up shops. They don't do anything to intervene that actually changes the cycle, if you understand what I mean. So that's the adult provision, but there was no provision for under 18s at all. And basically the police were delighted when we turned up, but again, the boys have to want to do it. We're not doing it as a lock-up shop. We actually want them to be there. We want them to be involved. We run it as a Christian program. We have a Christian 12-step program.
Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah, right from Rick Warren's church.
Okay.
So we're in a need that isn't provided. In the whole of Kalima, we don't think there's another under 18 rehab.
Fantastic. Sheila, how do you stop yourselves from being overwhelmed by all of this and by the scale of the need that is there in front of you?
With difficulty at times, I have to say, listening to Owen and the mental health stuff that's going on, it really helps. And we have support, which we will talk a little bit about later, from Seven, and especially Nigel and Helen, who are working with us. We're finding it really, really hard at the moment culturally. We cannot get male staff. We've got quite a few women that will come. We've got one man who is a fantastic house parent, but the staffing isn't stable. There are so many issues, and it is really hard, Dan. It is a really good question, that. And sometimes I do wonder.
And culturally, we felt quite isolated, not being able to get back to the UK for, like nearly 3 years. Will be good 3 years.
Because of COVID.
Yeah. And then so people like Nigel and Helen contacting has been fantastic for us.
Yeah. Well, we would love to keep praying for you. So how can we direct our prayers? What are your main prayer needs at the moment?
We'd love to have more boys. We'd also like to have a girls' house, because the police tell us there are many more girls with drug problems than boys of under 18.
Our biggest need is for funding. We have 2 funders, and they've been amazing, but that isn't sufficient to keep us going in the future. So please pray for funding. How do we obtain that? Who's going to get involved with us? When we left Seven, when we were sent out from Seven, all the words basically we had, and all the words from other churches, Bethel in America, were all about our house being used. Although we've used it, we want to know, and we would ask you to pray, what is our house? What use can we put this house to? We've had lots of visitors, but with lockdown, obviously not from anywhere across the pond, as they say. And we would like to use it and see what God is opening up about our house for the future. Now, lockdown, we hope is easing for everyone.
Really, we want to say how much we love all that you're doing at Seven. We feel so much more connected now that you're in the new virtual world to Seven. But I really want to say a huge thank you to Bern Leckie, who's made some brilliant funding videos for us. Bless you, Bern. To Nigel and Helen Gazzard, who are amazing Seven support team. We love you guys. Do contact them or visit the website if you want any more information. And if you feel you want to be more involved with giving time or expertise, contact them or look at the website. Thank you.